Astonishment, admiration, and profound reflection are the emotions that wash over me after researching and learning about more than 100 Black public figures connected to the courageous and sacred parenting journeys within the LGBTQ+ community. Hello everyone, we are our Memory Vault, and this is the video 21 Black celebrities who are LGBTQ but still have children. This greatly impacts how we view family affection, overcoming all boundaries of prejudice, and it might just leave you stunned. This video is perfect to play while you are resting, enjoying a meal with your family, or doing chores around the house. All the information in this video has been carefully researched and gathered from multiple sources. If there are any oversights, please leave a comment below to help our channel continue to grow. Please subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and ring the notification bell to receive updates on our latest videos. Now let us step right into the stories of our first figures. Robin Roberts. Robin Roberts, the familiar and highly respected face of the Good Morning America program, always brings audiences a sense of peace and reliability every morning. Possessing a calm demeanor, a gentle smile, and extraordinary willpower, she has become one of the most profoundly influential Black television journalists in America. Throughout decades of dedication to the media industry, Robin has emerged as the standard model of professionalism, a brave woman who always knows how to inspire millions of families positively. However, behind the glamorous studio lights, her journey to find personal happiness and how she defines a family home is a deeply contemplative story, breaking away from the traditional molds that society often imposes on women in their twilight years. Even though she belongs to the LGBTQ+ community and is open about her enduring romance with her life partner, Amber Legan, Robin Roberts did not choose the path of having biological children. Yet that does not diminish her maternal instinct and wonderful nurturing role at all. Robin's family love is deeply expressed through her becoming a spiritual mother, a solid anchor for her nephews, nieces, and the younger generations in her extended family. During her most difficult periods, when facing two serious illnesses, the very shelter of her home and the unconditional love from the children in the family became the invaluable spiritual medicine that helped her stand resiliently. Her journey proves that maternal love is not limited by bloodline. Rather, it is nurtured by sacrifice, understanding, and sacred moments of connection every day. Reflecting on the life and family building of Robin Roberts, audiences who have experienced many ups and downs of human life will certainly realize a highly profound lesson about the core value of kinship. Her story teaches us that there is no single standard for a complete home. Spreading love, opening one's arms to shelter, and guiding the next generation is the true essence of being a father or a mother. For those of the preceding generation, Robin's choice is a beautiful testament to altruism and tolerance. She reminds each of us to open our hearts, overcoming narrow prejudices to embrace the myriad forms of love. Family happiness sometimes is simply having a peaceful place to return to, where we give and receive love without needing any certificate of bloodline. Wanda Sykes. Wanda Sykes, the stand-up comedian possessing charm, sharpness, and a razor-sharp, cool head, has long established a solid position in the American entertainment industry. With her intelligent performance style and satirical yet deeply humane jokes, she brings audiences roaring laughter and moments of quiet reflection. Throughout her brilliant career, Wanda has always been a powerful voice fighting for the rights of Black people and women. When she decided to publicly come out as gay in 2008, it was a courageous turning point, breaking countless barriers and prejudices that still persistently existed in society at the time. The image of a successful, confident woman living true to herself has provided endless inspiration for those still floundering to find their identity. The most sacred and fulfilling turning point in the personal life of Wanda Sykes was the journey of motherhood, when she and her wife, Alex Sykes, welcomed twins, a boy and a girl, in 2009. For a woman who had entered middle age, beginning the role of a mother to children of mixed heritage was an experience both miraculous and fraught with challenges. Wanda skillfully wove both funny and tearful stories about raising children into her comedy routines, turning the difficulties of a multiracial gay family into gentle, relatable lessons. She faced the scrutinizing gazes of society with a calm attitude, using boundless love to protect her home. Becoming a mother softened the edge of the comedian, turning her into a serene woman who always puts the development and peace of her children first. Looking at the happy home of Wanda Sykes' parents, we'll find a deep resonance and a highly meaningful teaching about tolerance. Her story proves a truth: that the love of parents for their children is a universal language rising above all concepts of gender or skin color. When society still holds strict views toward LGBTQ+ families, Wanda's resilient and highly scientific, laughter-filled way of raising children is the sternest answer. It reminds each of us that a child growing up healthy and happy does not depend on them having a father and a mother according to the traditional mold, but depends on them living in an environment filled with respect and love. Wanda's fulfillment is a beautifully absolute affirmation of the strength of the modern family. The fulfilling home filled with laughter of Wanda Sykes is truly admirable, but the journey rising from global shocking storms to become a mother by the basketball legend right up next will surely make you shed tears. Please do not rush to take your eyes off the screen. Brittney Griner. Brittney Griner, the legendary center of the WNBA, is one of the greatest and most influential athletes of her generation. Possessing outstanding height, excellent defensive skills, and explosive dunks, she has continuously dominated international arenas, bringing countless glories to her country's sports. Alongside her outstanding talent, Brittney is also known to the public as a symbol of courage, for always steadfastly living true to her gender identity, refusing to be forced into traditional feminine molds. Her strength, noble sportsmanship, and the historic events she has gone through, especially her long period of detention, have turned her into an iconic figure regarding the will to survive and the desire for freedom. Despite facing countless storms in her career and personal life, the desire to build a home and fulfill the parental calling of Brittney Griner never went out. She previously went through a stormy marriage and had twin children with her ex-wife, a parenting journey that began with many hurdles and costly lessons about maturity. However, after the storms, Brittney found a true peaceful haven beside her current wife, Sherelle. Overcoming severe psychological traumas from the past, their welcoming a child together is a miraculous testament to rebirth and the power of love. Becoming a parent in a same-sex family, Brittney always shows a gentleness, protectiveness, and an absolute sense of responsibility completely opposite to the image of an edgy female warrior on the basketball court. Reflecting on the parenting journey full of ups and downs of Brittney Griner, audiences who have experienced many of life's storms cannot help but feel an admiration mixed with deep emotion. Her story teaches us a lesson about human resilience and recovery. It proves that no matter who you are or how painfully you have stumbled, the desire to be loved and to nurture a new life always remains the most sacred instinct. For the preceding generation, Brittney's journey is a powerful message about tolerance and the right to start over. Past traumas do not shape a person's ability to be a parent. It is precisely sincere love and tireless sacrifice for children that are the most accurate measure for the value and dignity of a family home. Don Lemon, the veteran journalist and television host who once dominated the news on CNN, is one of the sharpest and most weighty voices in American media. With a dignified demeanor, keen analytical ability, and unafraid to tackle thorny issues regarding politics and race, he has become a familiar face in American homes for many years. When Don Lemon publicly announced his sexual orientation in his memoir, he bravely broke the wall of silence, becoming one of the few black male journalists to come out as gay on national television. This action not only demonstrated honesty with his ego, but also conveyed a powerful message about self-respect, encouraging transparency and authenticity in an industry full of strict prejudices. Alongside a television career full of ups and downs and controversies, his romantic life and intense desire to build a family with the sound of children is an incredibly soft and humane aspect of Don Lemon. Entering his 50s, he became engaged to his life partner Tim Malone and publicly shared plans to have children through surrogacy. For a successful man who has passed more than half his life, The decision to become a father was not an impulsive moment, but the result of mature reflection on the value of continuation. Their serious preparation financially and psychologically, and choosing the path of modern medicine to create new lives reflects a sacred desire for fatherhood. It shows that behind the dry news broadcasts, he is still a man always yearning for a traditional family home. Through the perspective of audiences who have entered their twilight years, Don Lemon's journey preparing to become a father brings an incredibly poignant empathy and teaching about the completeness of a human life. His story proves a truth. No matter how many achievements you attain in society, the desire to pass down a spiritual legacy to the next generation always remains burning. The fact that a gay male couple made efforts to overcome biological barriers and social prejudices to fulfill the calling of fatherhood is a beautifully absolute testament to the intense vitality of love. It teaches us to broaden our vision, stop judging, and appreciate the efforts of others to build a family. Fatherhood is a sacred privilege, and children born from careful preparation, overflowing with love, will certainly grow up to be happy and kind citizens. Billy Porter. Billy Porter. One of the breakthrough fashion icons and the brightest star of both the Broadway stage and the Hollywood screen has used his own life to write a heroic epic about freedom of expression. With glamorous outfits breaking all gender boundaries, a soaring, powerful voice, and an immortal, proud demeanor, he appears as a god of confidence. Audiences remember him not only through his lifetime roles in the Pose series, but also through how he bravely faced childhood traumas, harsh discrimination, and the HIV epidemic to rise to the peak of fame. Billy's journey is a fiercely inspiring story, proving the unparalleled power of daring to live true, daring to be brilliant, right in the middle of a world still holding many dark prejudices. When mentioning the concept of family and children for Billy Porter, we need to view it through a much broader and more humane lens compared to ordinary biological standards. In LGBTQ+ community culture, especially the Black ballroom culture, the concept of a chosen family carries a life or death meaning. Even without officially having biological children, Billy became a spiritual father, a solid pillar supporting and protecting countless young lives rejected by their biological families due to their sexual orientation. He uses his power, wealth, and warm heart to guide generations of young artists, giving them love, direction, and a safe home they never had the chance to receive. His role as a father is the role of a pathfinder, someone opening his arms to heal hearts that the world had rejected. Reflecting on Billy Porter's highly noble concept of fatherhood, audiences who have entered the ripe age of life will find an incredibly poignant lesson about the sacredness of human compassion. It teaches us that blood is not the only thing that creates a family, and the calling of being parents sometimes sprouts from the very actions of saving lonely lives. Billy's story reminds parents about the cruel consequences of rejecting their children while honoring those ready to use unconditional love to fill those voids. A true home is where children live safely, encouraged to become the best versions of themselves. The greatness of Billy Porter lies not only in prestigious awards, but also in how he sowed seeds of hope, becoming a great father in the hearts of tens of thousands of children who once had no home to return to. Billy Porter opened his arms to be a great spiritual father, but the silent sacrifice to shelter her chosen family by the transgender icon right up next will truly make us bow in respect. Let us continue to uncover the highly humane stories ahead. Laverne Cox. Laverne Cox, the talented actress and one of the most resilient social activists, etched her name into history as the first Black transgender woman to appear on the cover of Time magazine and receive a prestigious Emmy nomination. Her career is a silent but incredibly powerful revolution, completely shattering cruel barriers against transgender people in Hollywood. With a haughty, beauty-elegant demeanor, sharp intellect, and a heart full of compassion, Laverne appears as a goddess of hope. She has used her influence to speak up for vulnerable lives, turning stigma into motivation to create a more equal and tolerant world for her community. Like Billy Porter, Laverne Cox's journey of motherhood is not defined by carrying a child or biological birth, but is defined by a massive dedication of heart and soul to her chosen family. Transgender women are often stripped of the opportunity to become mothers in the traditional way, but the instinct to shelter and nurture within them has never extinguished. Laverne became a spiritual mother, a protective shield for countless young transgender people who are confused and desperate in society. She dedicates her time, money, and boundless love to provide psychological support, career guidance, and ignite passion for youth facing the risks of violence and isolation. Her care, teachings, and presence have saved so many lives, bringing them the feeling of belonging to a true family. Through the lens of those who have tasted enough of life's ups and downs, the symbolic motherhood of Laverne Cox brings an incredibly philosophical and humane teaching. Her story proves a profound truth. The maternal calling does not originate from the physical body, but originates from the heart. Opening one's arms to embrace children who do not share the same bloodline, comforting their emotional wounds, is the highest expression of compassion. To the mature generation, her action is a gentle yet sharp reminder. Stop judging a woman's qualification for motherhood through narrow biological standards. The silent sacrifice and unconditional love that Laverne dedicates to the younger generation is a priceless legacy, teaching each of us to know how to open our arms to build homes overflowing with human love amidst a world still holding too much coldness. Niecy Nash. Niecy Nash, the actress possessing ultimate charm and a radiant smile capable of lighting up any room, is one of the most beloved stars on the American screen. With a seductive hourglass figure, an acting style that is both humorously charming and capable of digging deep into heavyweight dramatic roles, she built for herself an incredibly solid career. Throughout most of her life and career, Niecy was known to the public as a traditional heterosexual woman, having gone through 2 marriages with men and being a devoted mother of 3 biological children. She always appeared with the image of a comprehensive family woman, a standard model of success and fulfillment, according to the perspective of mainstream society. Yet life always harbors unexpected and beautiful turns. Entering her 50s, an age where many believe everything is settled, Niecy Nash left the whole world astounded and full of admiration when she bravely announced her marriage to her same-sex partner, female singer Jessica Betts. The awakening and the decision to live true to the vibrations of her heart in her twilight years was a highly breakthrough journey. The most precious thing is how she conversed with and received absolute support from her 3 adult children. Raising her children with an open, non-judgmental love had borne fruit. Her children were not confused or turned their backs. On the contrary, they opened their arms to embrace their mother's new happiness together, creating a modern, cohesive family version overflowing with understanding. Reflecting on the breakthrough decision of Niecy Nash, audiences who have passed half their lives will certainly draw a highly powerful lesson about courage and how to educate children. Her story teaches us that it is never too late to seek the true happiness of one's life. Her bravely stepping out of her comfort zone teaches middle-aged women to always cherish and listen to the call of their hearts. Furthermore, it proves a wonderful educational philosophy. If you nurture children with love and respect, they will become your most solid support when you need it. The home of Niecy Nash is a powerful message, erasing the fears of LGBTQ+ parents, affirming that a family can still be complete and happy, regardless of what shape it takes, as long as its roots are watered with sincerity. Kehlani. One of the most unique and personality-filled contemporary R&B voices, represents the powerful voice of a young generation that refuses to submit to old molds. Her music consists of highly edgy, yet incredibly sweet confessions, containing struggles about love, healing, and the journey to find one's identity. With an edgy, tattooed exterior, a free-spirited style, and an authenticity sometimes brutal in its emotion, Kehlani has touched the hearts of millions of fans worldwide. She's not only an artist, but also a symbol of resilience when she bravely publicly identified her gender as a lesbian after a long time exploring her fluidity, inspiring countless young people about the right to live true. Amidst the peak of her career and the constant fluctuations of the entertainment world, The solid anchor and also the greatest love in Kehlani's life is her little daughter, Adea. Kehlani's journey of motherhood is a beautiful testament to parenting in a modern and tolerant world. She chose to raise her daughter in an environment overflowing with love, where all gender prejudices and social stereotypes are erased. Kehlani, along with her partners, is creating a novel, flexible, yet incredibly cohesive concept of family. She always tries to balance between being a globally famous star and being a simple mother, personally caring for teaching and protecting her daughter's tender soul from the storms and thoughtless judgments of public opinion. Reflecting on Kehlani's way of mothering, parents of the preceding generation will have the opportunity to broaden their perspective and better understand the rhythm of life in young families. Her story brings a profound lesson about the power of freedom in raising children. It teaches us that maternal love is not diminished or altered by the mother's sexual orientation. On the contrary, precisely the freedom to express herself helped her become a happy mother, thereby passing on to her daughter confidence and pride. To older people, Kehlani's image reminds us to put away generational judgments, because no matter what era, patience, altruism, and the desire to bring a peaceful life to children always remain the most sacred and immortal instinct of those who are parents. Lee Daniels. Lee Daniels, the genius mind behind shocking cinematic and television works like Precious the Butler or the Empire franchise, is one of the most powerful Black directors and producers with outstanding vision in Hollywood. His works are never easy stories. They are always sharp knives, dissecting the darkest corners of American society, from poverty and abuse to fierce conflicts over race and gender. As a Black man, openly gay from his early days, stepping into the highly harsh entertainment world, Lee Daniels had to taste countless stigmas. Yet he used those very personal pains and experiences as material to create iconic film sequences, paving the way for LGBTQ+ artists to confidently step into the light. Alongside an illustrious career, Lee Daniels' life also harbors an incredibly moving and blood-tie-imbued story of fatherhood. Unlike seeking children through surrogacy, he made a decision that completely changed the trajectory of his life. Adopting his two biological nephews, a set of twins, when his biological younger brother got entangled with the law. In his youth, while struggling to assert his position in the cinematic capital, Lee and his partner put aside personal priorities to open their arms and accept the heavy responsibility of raising two small lives. The journey of being a gay Black father, raising children in a complex American society, was a series of days full of challenges, but also overflowing with great sacrifice. He became a solid shield, bringing the children a complete home, an excellent educational foundation, and boundless love. Through the contemplative lens of those who have tasted enough flavors of life, Lee Daniels' decision to adopt his nephews brings an incredibly poignant teaching about family affection. It teaches us a truth. When a family falls into hardship, flesh and blood ties will rise above all personal calculations. The fact that a gay man is ready to take on the role of a father so that children do not have to be orphaned is an act carrying the great nature of compassion. To the mature generation, his story reminds us of the core meaning of the word family. A true family is a place where people never abandon each other. The fatherly love of Lee Daniels shattered all strict prejudices about the parenting ability of gay people, proving that sacrifice, responsibility, and love are precisely the only materials to build a sustainable home. Michaela Coel. The genius. British screenwriter and actress, is one of the most uniquely creative, bold minds with profound influence in the modern television era. By creating and starring in the masterpiece I May Destroy You, she brought home a prestigious Emmy Award, smashing all traditional molds regarding how Black stories are told on screen. Not glamorous, according to ordinary flashy standards, Michaela's beauty emanates from razor-sharp intelligence and authenticity, to the point of being raw and extraordinary courage in daring to expose the darkest corners of human psychology. She emerges as a symbol of autonomy, a powerful woman personally writing the script for her own life and career without having to rely on any other force. In her personal life, Michaela Coel bravely declared her gender identity as aromantic, a concept within the LGBTQ+ spectrum, referring to people who experience little to no traditional romantic attraction. This difference makes her perspective on building a family and having children incredibly special and groundbreaking. Not bound by the pressure to find a lover or a marriage as a foundation to have children, Michaela proudly shared her decision to freeze her eggs. To her, preparing for the calling of motherhood is a completely independent decision, originating from pure love for a future life rather than depending on a romantic couple's script. She is step by step creating a new definition of family, where a single mother by choice can bring a complete home overflowing with love for her children. Reflecting on the highly modern motherhood perspective of Michaela Coel, audiences who have passed through many of life's storms will realize an invaluable teaching about women's independence. Her story shatters the outdated prejudice that a home is only happy when it has all the traditional romantic elements. It teaches us that maternal love is a great and inherently sacred instinct. It does not need to be licensed by a marriage certificate or a life partner. To the mature generation, Michaela's choice is a beautifully absolute testament that women have the full right to master their bodies, time, and reproductive decisions. Respect and support women who dare to choose their own paths, because a child born from careful preparation and resilient independent will is certain to be nurtured in the freest and happiest environment. Karamo Brown. The culture expert and the warm heart of the globally hit reality TV show Queer Eye always appears before the public with the image of an incredibly elegant, sophisticated man overflowing with empathy. With a kind smile, expressive eyes, and wonderful listening ability, he has helped countless lost lives rediscover confidence and heal deep psychological wounds. Karamo is not just a television star, but he is also an active social activist, a proud representative voice for the gay Black male community in America. His success, dignified demeanor, and lifestyle deeply imbued with human values have contributed to smashing many false and negative prejudices that society once attached to men with a homosexual orientation. However, what makes the public admire and respect Karamo Brown the most is exactly his highly responsible and humane story of fatherhood. Even though he had been openly gay since he was 16, it wasn't until he was 26 that Karamo suddenly discovered he had a biological son named Jason from a relationship in his youth. Facing this immense life event, instead of running away, he immediately took responsibility, fought for custody, and compensated the boy with all his love. The greatness of this father did not stop there. A few years later, upon learning that Jason's maternal half-brother Chris was having to live in the foster care system, Karamo did not hesitate to go through the procedures to adopt Chris so the two brothers would not be separated. He single-handedly raised, protected, and brought the two young men a true family home, overflowing with proper education and boundless love. Looking at the highly great fatherhood journey of Karamo Brown parents who have passed half their lives will certainly not be able to help shedding tears of emotion and admiration. His story brings an incredibly poignant teaching about the true meaning of the word responsibility. It proves a truth that sexual orientation can never blur the fatherly instinct and bloodline love. His opening his arms to embrace even a child not sharing his bloodline to preserve brotherhood intact is the ultimate expression of altruism. Karamo's child-rearing journey has become a beautifully absolute symbol, teaching each of us to discard short-sighted views on family structure. A home may lack the silhouette of a traditional mother, but with the dedication, sacrifice, and warm heart of a gay father, those children still grow up incredibly healthy, happy, and become useful citizens to society. Samira Wiley. The actress, possessing a brilliantly sunny smile and expressive eyes, is one of the brightest faces beloved by global audiences through two television blockbusters, Orange is the New Black and The Handmaid's Tale. Her authentic, emotionally rich acting style and transcendent ability to embody roles carrying heavy psychological depth helped her bring home a prestigious Emmy Award. On screen as well as in real life, Samira always exudes a source of positive energy, proud confidence, and an unmistakably radiant beauty. Ever since publicly declaring her gender identity as a lesbian, she has become a powerfully inspiring symbol, a tireless voice fighting for the rights of the LGBTQ+ community and Black women in an inherently harsh entertainment industry. The fulfillment in Samira Wiley's career became even more brilliant when she found the peaceful haven of her life beside her soulmate, the talented female screenwriter Lauren Morelli. Their dreamy love story bore fruit with the birth of their little daughter, George Elizabeth. The pregnancy and motherhood journey of this couple is a wonderful testament to the miracle of modern medicine and the intense desire for a family home. The fact that two women share the hardships of caring for an infant together, building modern and love-filled educational methods together, created an incredibly solid home. Samira frequently shares simple yet incredibly sweet moments beside her wife and daughter, spreading a powerful message about normalizing the image of families with two mothers in the eyes of the mass public. Through the contemplative lens of audiences who have entered middle age, the happy home of Samira Wiley brings an incredibly gentle yet profound teaching about love and connection. It teaches us a truth. A child does not need to be born according to outdated traditional molds to receive complete love. When two women use understanding gentleness and sincere love to nurture a life together, that home always radiates the warmest light. To the preceding generation, Samira's story is a poignant reminder to open our hearts to embrace the changes of the era. The happiness of a family is not determined by the gender of the parents, but it is determined by the laughter, the sacrifices, and the affectionate embraces they give to their beloved children every day. Sheryl Swoopes, a towering monument in the world sports village, is the one who completely changed the face of women's basketball with the proud title, the female version of Michael Jordan. As the first player signed when the WNBA was established, possessing 3 Olympic gold medals and countless noble titles, she is the embodiment of strength, flexibility, and an immortal warrior spirit on the basketball court. To millions of American sports fans, Sheryl is not just an outstanding athlete, but she is also a cultural icon who broke invisible barriers to assert the position of Black women in a field inherently always emphasizing male strength. Her image is an endless source of inspiration for countless young girls harboring the dream of conquering sports peaks. Amidst the blinding halo of her career, Sheryl Swoopes' private life was a highly breakthrough and incredibly brave journey. In 1997, while at the peak of her form, she gave birth to her son Jordan, affirming that the calling of motherhood could not hinder a great athlete. However, the real shock came in 2005 when she became one of the first famous Black athletes in the world to publicly come out as gay at that time. The decision to step into the light while being a single mother, raising a young child in a sports environment, still full of stigma and conservatism, demanded extraordinary courage. She had to face the risk of losing lucrative sponsorship contracts and cruel judgments from public opinion. But she steadfastly protected her ego because she wanted her son to grow up with absolute authenticity. Reflecting on the courage of Sheryl Swoopes, those who have tasted enough of the bitterness and sweetness of life will realize an incredibly costly teaching about honesty in parenting. It teaches us that the greatest asset a mother can leave for her children is not money or fame, but the courage to dare live true to oneself. Her refusing to live in a shell of lies was the best way to teach her son about self-esteem and respecting the differences of others. Although later, her sexual orientation had certain fluidity, her pioneering action paved the way for countless other LGBTQ+ mothers to confidently hold their heads high. Sheryl's story reminds us to always use love to shelter the family, because a resilient mother daring to stand up against the storm of public opinion for her children is always the greatest mother. Todrick Hall, a rare, multi-talented phenomenon of the American entertainment industry, is a singer-dancer, choreographer, and a highly creative director who rose from the brilliant world of YouTube to step onto the most prestigious stages of Broadway. Possessing endless energy, explosive artistic ideas, and an unmistakable performance style, He personally built an entertainment empire deeply imbued with personal marks. Throughout his artistic journey, Todrick never hesitated to publicly identify as a gay black man, turning personal experiences, stigma, and difficulties during his upbringing into highly inspiring artistic material. He emerges as a symbol of perseverance, an artist who dares to kick down all molds to assert the value of his ego amidst an incredibly harsh industry. When mentioning the concept of family and children for Todrick Hall, we are once again able to admire the exquisite beauty of the concept of chosen family in LGBTQ+ community culture. Even though he has not stepped onto the path of biological fatherhood in the traditional way, Todrick plays a highly sacred role, a spiritual father, a teacher, and a great godfather to countless dancers, singers, and young artists. He opened his arms, turning his performance troupe into a second home, where young talents, especially LGBTQ+ youth rejected by their families, found shelter, love, and career guidance. The dedication and guiding, taking care of every meal and sleep, and the careers of these spiritual children demonstrates an incredibly strong and respectable nurturing instinct. Reflecting on the highly humane fatherly role of Todrick Hall, audiences who have experienced many ups and downs of human life will draw a priceless lesson about passing down legacies. His story teaches us a truth. Nurturing a person does not stop at giving birth to them physically, but more nobly, it is building a solid spiritual launchpad for them. To the mature generation, Todrick's action is a beautifully absolute testament to altruism. When a man uses his power, talent, and warmth to light up the future for the next generation, giving them a safe artistic home, that person has excellently fulfilled the calling of a father. That borderless love reminds us to always be ready to open our arms to uplift floundering young seedlings, because that is exactly the most eternal legacy a human life can leave behind. Marsha P. Johnson. Marsha P. Johnson, the immortal icon of the historic Stonewall riots, is one of the most resilient and greatest human rights activists of the global LGBTQ+ community. Despite having to live a life submerged in poverty, being marginalized by society, and having to face countless cruel stigmas directed at a black transgender woman, Marsha always wore a radiant smile, draped herself in colorful homemade outfits and brilliant fresh flower crowns on her head. She emerged not only as a brave warrior on the front lines fighting for equality, but also as the embodiment of a holy soul, a bodhisattva, amidst a harsh earthly realm. Her greatness did not lie in material wealth, but lay in an immensely vast, tolerant heart with no endpoint. The motherhood calling of Marsha P. Johnson is one of the greatest and most tear-soaked stories in history. She never carried a child or gave birth, but she was revered as the greatest mother to thousands of homeless children on the streets of New York. Together with her soulmate friend Sylvia Rivera, Marsha founded Star Street Transvestite Action Revolutionaries, the first shelter for LGBTQ+ teenagers kicked out of their homes by their own biological parents because of their sexual orientation. With the meager money earned from grueling and sometimes dangerous jobs, Mother Marsha bought food, provided sleeping places, and protected the tender children from the traps of the streets and violence. She used her very own life and unconditional love to patch up souls shattering from being abandoned by their families. Through the lens of parents, the greatness of Marsha P. Johnson brings an incredibly painful yet highly philosophical teaching about maternal love. It sternly proves that bloodlines are sometimes just a meaningless concept if they do not come with love and responsibility. The fact that parents heartlessly threw away their children so that those children had to seek warmth from a poor transgender woman is a sorrowful indictment of society's apathy. To us, the legacy of Mother Marsha is a sacred lesson about compassion. It reminds every family to know how to love and accept their children unconditionally, because the home must be where storms stop behind the door. Her great maternal love taught humanity that sometimes those with nothing in their hands are the ones who can give away the most immense and purest love. Ma Rainey. Ma Rainey, the towering monument honored by music history as the mother of the blues, was one of the most powerful, wild, and pioneering voices of the 1920s. Her music was a raw, but highly artistic exposure of the hidden corners of American Southern society, from poverty and highly sensual romances to racial injustices. On stage, Ma Rainey was a true queen, always draping herself in sparkling outfits studded with gold coins, with an arrogant, defiant, and sometimes highly challenging demeanor. She lived a life refusing any constraints, proudly publicizing her same-sex romances with women right in an era where that was considered a heinous sin. Her aura was a brilliant manifesto of freedom and feminist strength. Yet behind the edgy, rebellious shell and those passionate performance nights, Ma Rainey carried a highly intense and profound maternal instinct. Despite having a complex romantic life with both men and women, she dedicated complete and highly responsible love to an adopted son named Danny. For a blues female singer, someone who was always rushing on touring trains across all roads, deciding to adopt and care for a child was an incredibly rare and astonishing thing. She used all her wealth, power, and strength to protect the boy from the storms of the era. Ma Rainey not only provided her son with an abundant material life, but also seriously invested in Danny's educational path, yearning to bring her son a bright future and a social position that Black people at the time could hardly reach. Reflecting on the maternal hidden corner of Ma Rainey, those who have tasted enough of life's flavors will draw a highly philosophical lesson about the multifaceted nature of a woman. Her story teaches us that a woman can absolutely be both a rebel, daring to kick down all of society's molds, and a gentle, devoted, and highly responsible mother. To the mature generation, Ma Rainey's image shatters the narrow-minded prejudices that those in the LGBTQ+ community cannot build a stable home. Her greatness lies in her knowing how to separate passionate art and sacred family responsibilities. Although judged by contemporary society for her lifestyle, the wonderful love and protection she gave her adopted son proved that a heart, no matter how wild when touching upon maternal love, is always a heart beating the warmest and greatest beats. Shaun T, the fitness wizard, who changed the physiques and health of millions of people worldwide through famous high-intensity workout programs like Insanity or T25. Possessing a flawless sculpted body, an inspiring radiant smile, and an explosive energy source capable of reviving any faltering will, he became a symbol of resilience and iron discipline. Shaun T's appearance on media has always been tied to the message of overcoming one's own limits, not only physically, but also in mental strength. His publicly coming out as a gay man and marrying his life partner Scott Blocker contributed to breaking the stereotypes of toxic masculinity in the sports and fitness world, affirming that true strength comes from daring to live true to one's ego. Alongside an illustrious career, the journey to seek the laughter of children to complete the home of Shaun T and Scott Blocker is one of the most inspiring and tear-soaked stories about fatherly love. The path to becoming parents for this couple was not at all paved with roses, but an arduous journey with 5 grueling years pursuing surrogacy, going through 6 failed IVF attempts and painful miscarriages that seemingly drained all faith. Yet with the will of sports warriors, they never gave up. Their perseverance and intense love finally bore fruit when the twin boys Sander and Silas were born. Becoming a father, Shaun T seemingly transformed, putting away the strictness on the training field to make way for a gentleness, patience, and boundless love for his little home. Looking at the resilience in Shaun T's fatherhood journey, parents who have gone through many storms will find a deep resonance and an incredibly valuable teaching about effort. His story proves a truth that family happiness is a priceless reward only for those who dare to persistently pursue it to the end. 2 men overcoming countless medical, financial, and psychological difficulties just to hold their children in their arms is a beautifully absolute testament to the power of fatherly love. To the mature generation, that journey reminds us to always cherish the little lives in the family, because there are people who have to trade sweat tears and a long, painful road to be able to reach that sacred calling of being parents. Audre Lorde, a great icon of the feminist movement, an eminent poet and a guiding torch for countless subsequent generations, proudly defined herself through a highly sharp and challenging lens Black lesbian mother, warrior, poet. With a talented pen and a razor-sharp mindset, she spent her entire life dissecting the most aching problems of American society, from racial discrimination and gender inequality to homophobia. Before the public and on intellectual forums, Audre Lorde appeared as a goddess of wisdom, a great thinker who never bowed to any oppressive system. Her literary legacy and philosophical theories became invaluable foundations, creating a safe space for vulnerable women who dared to stand up and reclaim the right to self-determination over their own lives and bodies. However, behind the image of a resilient social activist, Audre Lorde's journey of motherhood was a highly breakthrough story far ahead of its time. In the 60s and 70s, a period when prejudices about family were incredibly strict, she married a gay white man and had 2 children together, Elizabeth and Jonathan. After this marriage closed, Audre bravely lived true to her ego, moving in with her same-sex life partner, Frances Clayton. Together, they raised the children in a home overflowing with love, freedom of thought, and profound human values. Raising children in a multiracial and lesbian family at that time was a massive challenge, facing countless stigmatizing gazes and boycotts from society. But she turned her home into a solid fortress where the children were educated about tolerance and pride in difference. Reflecting on Audre Lorde's role as a mother, audiences who have tasted enough of the ups and downs of human life will draw a highly philosophical lesson about how to educate the younger generation. Her story teaches us a truth. Maternal love is never limited by narrow traditional molds. The greatness of a mother lies not only in taking care of every meal and sleep, but more nobly in passing down to her children a sharp, critical mindset and a heart that knows how to love all species. To the mature generation, Audre's journey is a profound reminder that the most precious legacy we can leave for our children is not material wealth, but the courage to dare live an authentic life. Children growing up under the shade of a free, proud mother will certainly become brave citizens, daring to rise up to protect what is right amidst a world full of injustices. Isaiah Rashad. Isaiah Rashad, the talented male rapper belonging to the Top Dog Entertainment music empire, represents a new, highly introspective and profound generation of hip-hop artists. Unlike rappers who always flaunt wealth or toxic masculinity, Isaiah's music consists of heavily scarred diaries, stripping bare persistent battles with depression, addiction, and the unsteadiness of youth. The authenticity to the point of being raw in every lyric helped him connect deeply with millions of audiences carrying similar pains. However, the hip-hop world is inherently an environment heavy with patriarchy and strict gender stigma. The biggest life event occurred when his fluid sexual orientation was suddenly exposed on social media. Contrary to the expectation of a collapse, Isaiah chose to face the storm incredibly calmly, bravely publicizing his ego and receiving strong protection from true fans. Amidst the chaotic vortexes of fame, mental crises, and horrific pressure from public opinion, the most solid anchor for Isaiah Rashad to maintain his sanity is his boundless love for his 2 young children. The male rapper's fatherhood journey is not a perfect picture, but a relentless battle to heal himself, aiming to become the best version for his children. In interviews, he always chokes up when mentioning his efforts to go to rehab and overcome psychological darkness simply because he doesn't want his children to witness their father's collapse. For Isaiah, the calling of fatherhood is an anchor holding him to the present. He desires to break the curses of the previous generation where Black men were not allowed to show weakness to raise his children in an environment overflowing with understanding where emotional honesty is considered a strength rather than cowardice. Looking at the fatherhood efforts of Isaiah Rashad, parents who have gone through many storms will find a deep empathy and a priceless teaching about maturity. His story proves a truth that no father is perfect, but love for children can create an extraordinary motivation for a person to save themselves. His bravely living true to his gender identity and daring to expose his weaknesses before the public is a wonderful lesson in courage for the younger generation. To us, Isaiah's journey reminds us that sometimes the best education parents can give their children is exactly showing them how we stand up from the most painful stumbles. His sincerity and efforts to heal his emotional wounds will certainly sow a seed of resilience and vast altruism into his children's souls. Michel Ndegeocello, a highly magnetic vocalist and one of the most outstanding bass guitarists, is revered as one of the pioneers who shaped the neo-soul genre in the 90s. Her music is a supreme blend between bustling funk rhythms, deep jazz vibes, and lyrics deeply imbued with philosophy, fighting for the freedom of the Black community. Michel has never submitted to tying herself to the bland commercial molds of the entertainment industry. With a highly calm demeanor, an edgy, shaved head, and a pure artistic aura, she created a distinct, highly contemplative path. Right from the early days of her career, Michel proudly publicized her bisexual orientation, becoming a highly proud and unyielding representative voice for queer Black women in a music era that was still incredibly conservative. The steadfastness and art of Michel Ndegeocello is also clearly reflected in her highly brave motherhood journey. She single-handedly raised her son Solomon to adulthood amidst the busiest years of her touring career. Being a single mother in the entertainment world is inherently a fierce challenge, and for a mother belonging to the LGBTQ+ community, that pressure multiplies manifold. Yet Michel created a wonderful protective shield for her son against the hustle and noise of Hollywood. She nurtured Solomon with stillness, with a love for art and profound lessons about the human worldview. She did not try to mold her child according to society's expectations, but created a free space for her child to develop in the most natural way. The bond between mother and son is proof of a deep, enduring maternal love that does not need any flaunting on media platforms. Reflecting on the silent yet great motherhood style of Michel Ndegeocello, audiences who have passed middle age will realize an incredibly poignant teaching about the value of peace. Her story teaches us that family happiness does not lie in superficial, glamorous praises, but it is nurtured from stillness and internal understanding. Her daring to steadfastly live true to her ego, not compromising with fake standards, has become a priceless educational lesson about self-respect for her son. To the mature generation, Michel's image reminds us to always know how to protect the core values of the home. A great mother is someone who knows how to use her intellect and calmness to dissolve all storms, bringing her children a safe haven where love and respect are always the clearest sounds ringing out every day. Jeffrey Bowyer-Chapman. The handsome actor carrying an irresistible charm from the hit television series Unreal, is one of the new generation Black artists bringing the most positive inspiration in Hollywood. Not only possessing the flawless appearance of an international model, Jeffrey also shines with sharp intellect, charm, and a heart always concerned for the community. As an openly gay man, he never hesitates to use his influence to speak up to protect the rights of the LGBTQ+ community and raise awareness about mental health issues. His presence on screen and in podcasts always exudes a healing energy, confidence, and an admirable optimistic spirit. He emerges as the model of a modern gentleman, elegant, empathetic, and always ready to use his voice to create better changes for society. In recent years, the journey seeking fulfillment in family life and the desire to fulfill the calling of fatherhood of Jeffrey Bowyer-Chapman has become a powerfully inspiring story about building a home in the new era. Despite facing quite a few procedural hurdles and social prejudices regarding gay male couples adopting children or using surrogacy, he always maintained a fierce belief in the day he would hold little angels in his arms. His straightforward sharing about his concerns, the meticulous psychological and financial preparations to welcome new lives, reflects a highly mature and profound fatherly instinct. For Jeffrey, being a father is not only a generational continuation, but an opportunity to give unconditional love, bringing a complete home to children, helping them grow up in an environment free of stigma, overflowing with tolerance and the freedom to express their personalities. Closing the list with Jeffrey Bowyer-Chapman's family-oriented journey, those who have tasted enough flavors of life will realize a highly humane teaching message about the movement of love. His story proves a shining truth. The desire to be loved, to care for, and protect a new generation is a sacred privilege bestowed equally upon everyone, regardless of gender or sexual orientation. To the preceding generation, his dedicated preparation for the role of a father is ironclad proof, smashing all doubts about the child-rearing abilities of LGBTQ plus families. It reminds each of us to always view the concept of family with open eyes and a tolerant heart. For the most solid foundation of any home does not lie in biological structure, but lies in sacrifice, responsibility, and the flame of love that never goes out. Closing these incredibly moving stories today, we understand even more deeply a truth. Love, sacrifice, and responsibility are precisely the true sources creating a family, rising above all biological boundaries or strict societal prejudices. We respectfully wish you always have peaceful and warm moments overflowing with laughter beside your family dinner table. If these reflections bring meaningful value, please hit like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the latest videos from our memory vault. Goodbye, and see you again.